Open letter to my heart. Dear heart, you idiot. You wouldn't see a freight train coming if you were tied to the tracks with your eyelids stapled open. If you had eyelids, which I wish you did, because that would mean you had a face, and then I could punch it. If you were a person, you'd be that guy who sees a sign that says, wet paint, do not touch, and instead of, not touching it, drags his hand through it just so he can be sure as the paint dribbles between his fingers that it was, in fact, wet. Or the one who uses his $3 lottery scratch ticket winnings to buy another scratch ticket, because that one's gotta be worth more than $3. Or the one who pushes the elevator button a second time like he thinks that will make the elevator come faster. Hell, you wouldn't even be a person. You'd be this dumb cat I once had who would run face first into a wall, shake his little head in confusion, back up, and run harder. I've heard it said that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. If this is true, then the definition of stupidity is doing the same thing over and over, knowing you'll get what you always get. You, dear heart, put the foolish in foolish optimism. You fall for people like your ventricles were tied to parachute strings. You've never had a soft landing yet. Maybe extreme sports are not your thing. Maybe you should consider taking up a different hobby, like knitting. Although, those needles are pretty pokey, and with your pincushion tendencies, maybe that's not such a good idea either. Anyway, you'd only waste time trying to knit bridges across chasms too deep and wide to cross. You have the fearlessness of a bushwhacker, coupled with the intelligence of a bush. When I'm not preoccupied with cursing the bucket of stupid that hangs from my ribs, I turn my attention to dissecting you, unraveling your cogs and springs, trying to understand how your pendulum keeps swinging into brick walls, how you break like clockwork. You are 4 chambers of Russian roulette with the itchiest trigger I've ever seen. I can no longer believe you really don't know this will not end well. So I can only conclude that you don't care. I find this strangely endearing. You've thrown so many pieces of yourself against our lovers' chest walls just hoping to leave a mark. Cut so many more out to hang in the windows behind their eyes, trying to make a prism so that one day they might reflect on us. So many people in so many places have a part of you now. There must be nothing left in my chest but a handful of glitter. Yet you're constantly looking for ways to love more. Maybe the hearts that scored higher on their IQ tests grow thicker walls of muscle to protect their tender parts. They don't trip over their own arteries like untied shoelaces every time they see something shiny. But you, my dear, stupid heart, if you were a person, you'd be that kid who rides his bicycle straight downhill with no hands, no brakes, and a popped-off chain, knowing he's gonna crash, knowing it's gonna hurt, but figuring it's worth it for that one moment that feels like flying. He'll deal with the scrapes later. I can't fault you for that. So, heart, I still think you're a dumbass, but we're good for now.